Okay, hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, guys, I'm going to explain to you briefly the anatomy and physiology behind the biceps, and not only biceps. So generally speaking, about the flexors of the elbow and how we're made, so how these muscles work. And I'm going to show you at the end of the video also some exercises that you can do at home with no equipment at all, just the gravity and yourself and a bunch of things that you can find in every home, and to exercise and to train these muscles in all the different planes and all the different areas, and so be strong overall. Now when we talk about like biceps, everyone already knows where they are. So this big muscle right here that you can find almost immediately in the upper arm, and especially guys, like to have these muscles big, because culturally these muscles talk about masculinity and strength. So the bigger you have them, the more like masculine you look like, the stronger you look like, and that's a cultural thing. So a lot of people, if you go on YouTube, there are millions of guides and videos about how to train biceps, how to have bigger arms, and so on. So I wanted to do my contribution as well, but always trying to explain to you the anatomy and physiology behind, because once you understand how the muscles attach and origin, you can understand how they work, and so it's very easy to find ways to put those muscles in a condition where you can exert tension and you can train them. So when you look at the upper arm here from the frontal plane, so like this, okay, you can find right away the bicep. So it's going to be the most superficial muscle, and the bicep is going to originate from the scapula, so from the supraglenoid. The long head is going to originate from the supraglenoid tuberculus, and the short head is going to originate from the coracoid process. So two bony parts of the scapula, okay, so from right here pretty much, they're going to run down, and they're going to then make this big muscle that you can find right here, and then they're going to attach to the, many times these two muscle fibers run completely independent. So even though it seems like one big muscle, many times the fibers are like every time different. So you have on the other part the long head, and on the inner part the short head, and then they're going to attach on the tendon on the radius, so on this side right here of the bone. Now the biceps, as you can see, just from its origin and its insertion, has two different functions. So it's bi-articular, so it's going to act on two different joints. The first joint is the elbow joint, the second joint is the shoulder joint. So on the elbow joint, the bicep has two main functions: supination and flexion. Now the bicep actually is not primarily a flexor of the elbow. So the main function of the bicep, you can see it right here on the elbow, is this one. So you can see that when I supinate my arm, so I'm just like moving my palm, downwards and upwards. So this is pronation, this is supination. When I have my elbow flexed and I supinate my arm, you can see the bicep contracting, and that's the main function of the bicep. So supinating the forearm when the elbow is flexed, but as well is gonna contribute in flexing the elbow. And if you have a supinated forearm, you're gonna target primarily the bicep. So the bicep is gonna be the one that's gonna contribute the most on the elbow flexion. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Instead, on the shoulder joint, the long head of the bicep especially is gonna act as a helper in shoulder flexion. So in bringing the shoulder, rising it upwards like this towards you. Okay, so this is abduction, so that's a function that the bicep do not have. This is shoulder flexion. Okay, so that's the movement that the bicep is going to help. So these are the three main functions of the biceps. Now, why do I say that the bicep is gonna only flex the elbow when you have a supinated arm? Because of the fact there are two other flexors of the elbow in the elbow joint, and that are the brachioradialis, so a muscle that runs here in the lateral portion of the arm, and it runs like this. So it's this pretty big muscle you can find when you have this tendon. Okay, so that's it. And the other muscle is the brachialis, that runs beneath the bicep, so you cannot really see it, and it attaches right here. So these two muscles are actually the muscles that contribute for the most on the elbow flexion when the arm is pronated. So when the arm is pronated and you flex the elbow, the bicep is generating just the 5%, 10% of the total force needed to flex the elbow. 90% of the force is coming from the brachioradialis and the brachialis. Now, a different story happens when you have a supinated arm. So when you have a supinated arm and you flex the elbow, now you're targeting more the biceps, and you're getting that 60-70% of the force coming out of the bicep, but you still have that 30-40% coming from the brachialis and the brachioradialis. So you cannot really take out those muscles, so you cannot separate them and you cannot really train them apart. Regardless of pronation or supination, you're always targeting these three muscles overall. So you're just focusing more the brachialis and the brachioradialis with a pronated forearm. You're targeting more the bicep with a supinated forearm. Okay, that's just it. So a lot of people think about, biceps, biceps, but a lot of times they forget about the brachialis and the brachioradialis. And when you look at the total size of an arm, it's not just about the biceps. So the brachialis, for example, that runs beneath the bicep, the stronger and the bigger you have the brachialis, the more this muscle is going to actually push the bicep up. So it's going to make your bicep look bigger if you have a bigger brachialis. The brachioradialis is going to add some width in your arm in the elbow portion, and as well here in the interception, so around this area. Okay, just like this. The brachialis as well is going to add width to your arm, and then from this point on, also the size of your arm is going to be determined by the tricep. So it's not only about bicep. Yes, if you do this, you're gonna see the bicep mainly, but remember that beneath the bicep here is the brachialis, and just beneath it the tricep already. So if you look at my arm like this, yes, this portion is biceps, but this whole portion right here is triceps plus brachialis. So it's never just about biceps, it's always about the other muscles as well. So now that I've explained all of this, so at home, if you don't have any equipment, if you don't have weights, if you don't have barbells, if you don't have bands, how can you train your biceps? Remember that when I'm talking about training the biceps, it's not just the biceps. It's also about brachialis and brachioradialis. So if you have something like this, like a backpack, right? Something that you put things on when you go around. Everyone should have something like this. So this can become like a barbell. If you just open it, you put inside books, you put inside water bottles, you can put inside like heavy stuff, and once you reach the weight that you think it's the one that you want, then you can just grab it, and you can use this backpack as it would be a barbell, right? So you grab it, depending on what you're focusing on, you're gonna grab it with a supinated grip, so to target more the biceps, or you're gonna grab it with a pronated grip, and so you're gonna target more the brachioradialis and the brachialis. Now even a neutral grip, so a position of the forearm that is neither supinated nor pronated, is gonna target more the brachialis and the brachioradialis. So you can even do some hammer calls, as they call, Also in that way you're gonna focus more on the brachioradialis and the brachialis, okay? And so you just grab the backpack like this and you do reps. So also another thing that it's important when in this case you're trying to target more the biceps is the position of the elbow. So do always the reps with your elbow position. So when you look at your side, your elbow position must be in front of you, so not at your side. You should never do curls like this with your elbow in your side, because in this way you have no tension. When you are like this, you have no tension on the bicep going on. Instead, if you have your elbow in front of you like this, even on the maximum extension, you're still gonna have some tension going, because you're keeping the arm in this position. Again, because the bicep helps in shoulder flexion, this is slightly shoulder flexion, and so you're activating the bicep more. And from here, then you curl up, and then you go down, trying to keep the elbow fixed. So not that when you curl down, your elbow goes backwards, right? But you keep it fixed that way. Now, of course, a backpack is swings a little bit. It's not maybe comfortable for the grip, but it's something that I think everyone can use in their own home if they don't have weights. And so it's one way that you can use to train biceps, of course. You can do, as I said earlier, neutral grip, so hammer calls like this, to target more the brachioradialis and the brachialis, or even completely pronated grip like this. And again, same rules. So that's one way that I think anyone can train at home. And then for the second function, this time only the bicep, so the elbow flexion, again you're targeting biceps, brachialis and brachioradialis. But for what concerns the second function of the bicep, only the bicep is going to be activated. That is the flexion of the shoulder. So I think this is an exercise that I've already showed you, that is the planche lean. Remember that to activate more the bicep, you need to supinate the arm. So supinating the forearm, you're already activating more the bicep. Now the planche lean is pretty much like a push-up position with this pseudo grip. Okay, when you protract the scapula, so you push yourself up like this. Okay, and from this position, you're trying to lean forward with your body like this, right? And also at the same time, you're not only trying to hold your position by leaning forward, but at the same time you're trying to lift your hands up. So pressing on the floor and trying to do something as to slide your hands this direction. And if you can see, this is shoulder flexion. See? So very important, keeping the elbows extended, so not bending of the elbows like this. So always boom, and from here, you just do this and you hold, and you can really, I don't know if you can see it from the front, but you can really feel the biceps contracting and like holding the position. I'm gonna try to show it to you, but I don't know if it's gonna be visible. And you can really feel the stretch on the biceps. You feel a lot here, but at the same time you feel it up here, and that's the important part. So training the long head of the biceps. And that's again an exercise that is body weight. It's on the floor, you don't need anything, it's just your body, and depending on your level you can lean more forward, you can lean less forward. The important thing is that you can feel your biceps while you do it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's how you can train at home with no equipment. Then if you have something like an elastic band, of course that is better, because you can just place the elastic band and you can do like some normal curls, but this time against the resistance. So you can just do like this, right? Normal curls. You can even do shoulder flexions exercises like this, right? and everything becomes easier because the band is easier to grab, and as well it's gonna, the more you stretch it, the harder it's gonna pull you down, so the more strength you need to use. Or as I would like always to do, go outside, so don't stay inside but go outside and go to a park and wherever you can find some bars and train body weight by doing pull-ups or chin-ups. So these two variations are almost the best example I can give to you about how to train differently. So pull-ups, pronated grip, right? So you're training more brachioradialis and brachialis. Chin-ups instead, supinated grip, you're training more your biceps. So you need to do both of them. So don't focus only on biceps, because remember that if you have bigger brachioradialis and brachialis, your arm is going to look bigger as well. So it's not just the biceps that make the arm look bigger, but as well triceps, brachialis, brachioradialis, so all the other muscles are important as well. So in my opinion, the best thing to do is always like mix grips, do different exercises. Don't stick with just one kind of exercise. Pull-ups every time, doing every time pull-ups in the same way, same width, without changing, you know, the grip, the width, right? Large pull-ups, normal, narrow. Then you do chin-ups, you know, then you can do some commando to have some neutral grip as well. If you want, you can do some negatives. There are so many ways that you can train in the muscles, and the more different variations you do, the better you become, because you become stronger, not in just one motion, not in just one exercise, but in many different motions and in many different exercises. So you are strengthening all of your muscles all together, and that's the best thing, of course. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.